one more. Ah! How are you today? It's very nice to see you. Here we are down at the beach. Of course, it's summer here in the Northern Hemisphere. It's not. You guys are freezing. Today's film is about talking to you, asking you, what is it that you'd like to know about me and my world? What else can I share with you? I've had a few questions. I've got a few questions that I'm answering here today, but I'd like to answer more of them. So really, this is just to let you know, please ask me anything that you'd like to ask me, and I would be very happy to answer it. How do you make money out of this business? Well, one part is that I've been doing this for a long time. This is my 30th year in business, and so it's all about building a brand, which I did, and that was done with hard yards. I set myself up at a market. I was in front of 10,000 people every week, and that's where it started. I have to say, making money in 2019 is way more difficult than it was in 1999, and you just have to keep innovating. I think that the adage, I don't really like this adage, but the hustle, you've just got to keep making phone calls, keep meeting people, keep networking, keep getting your name out there. It's all that stuff. And we forget the final thing. You actually have to be good at what you do. That as well. How many hours a week do I work? Well, in my 20s and 30s, I probably did something like a 70 to 90 hour week. So absolutely, that might sound insane, but I was doing 12 to 15 hour days times 6 or 7 days. So what's 6 times 15? That's 90. Yeah, so I'm not, that is not a stretch. That is what I was doing up until really I got married and had kids. And these days, it's probably more like a 50-hour week. At work. There is no question, if you want to push into the upper limit of being into any industry, the only way is to do more or to be lucky. And those that are lucky just get discovered, and it happens. The rest of us, we just have to do more. I've lived in this city, which we can see here in the background, my whole life, and I've been photographing it since 1985 was probably the first time I actually went out and photographed it. So that's almost 35 years. How do I keep it fresh? Well, by 2002, 2003, I'd actually started to go, and this was when it had been 10, 15 years. I was like, oh, I'm just not sure there's anything else I can do here. And then that's when digital arrived, and that allowed me to start experimenting with new ideas and new ways of doing things. Plus the skyline changes, but there's no question that's a challenge. And now in 2019, so many people are photographing every city in the world that it's very hard to find original angles and original things, but I still think it's there, and it's just about going where you think other people haven't gone and doing what other people haven't necessarily done. But it's getting harder and harder because there are so many lenses pointed at the world now, way more than there was 10, 20, 30 years ago. What's my favorite camera ever? Difficult question. I started on Pentax, then moved to Nikon, stayed with Nikon but got a Canon Pocket, stayed with Nikon, had some Sonys, had some, actually I've missed some. I had a Sony digital way back when digital first started, Kodak digitals. I've got a Hasselblad digital, which is pretty amazing. But I'd have to say my favorite camera ever, the one that was the game changer, was the Nikon D3. Came out in 2007, I think it is, or early 2008, I think it actually came out. And that was the game changer. That was the very first camera where I felt digital surpassed film. the Nikon D3. Check it out. There'll be a link in the notes below. Most resonating shots to me. Well, it's interesting. I started this whole thing because I lived in this city. I used to ride my bike around and I used to go, wow, I'm excited by what I'm seeing. This is a really cinematic place. And why isn't it being represented? And then my goals were to create something that was a really evocative of time and place. So whether it was a rainy night or a foggy morning. So I think the images that resonate most for me are the ones that really, in that single frame, you know, place, you know, mood, you know, time. It's all there, but it's all done very naturally and organically. And there's an image called Stacked Trams, photographed in 1990, which was of a tram strike. So for those that don't know what trams are, they're basically like trains, but they go on the roads, on tracks. And in that year, the government was trying to get rid of conductors. And so the tram drivers, everybody went on strike, and they parked these trams and filled the city from one end to the other, which was about 2 kilometers, I think, or 1 kilometer from end to end of just solid trams. So it was like 100 trams. And I was there. I was 19 at the time. I was just starting to shoot, and that image tells a story of something that's never been repeated since. I had film in those days. I had 5 shots left in my camera, and I got 2 images that still sell to this day out of that shoot. So that certainly told a story of time and place and history.
And of course, what questions do you have? You can ask anything or everything.
Thank you so much for watching this film. As always, please like, please share, as it makes us all smarter, and please subscribe. It all helps so much in making my channel go out to a wider audience. Of course, check out my social media links below. There's Instagram and Facebook, and of course my website as well. Look forward to seeing you in the next one. See ya.